Alright, just getting started with the second stream of today, coming back after the 3D printer has finished the part we were waiting on. Now we should be able to get this project finished up. Oh, Tuco is way over here. Let's see if I can get him on camera. Oh, that cat. So I think the first step here might actually be just getting the part off of the 3D printer. I was saving that till the stream since I also wanted to get that on video. And it seemed like I could stream that too. Let's just get the camera up on the Android thing. Sweet. Here we are again. Let's make sure we actually have space. This is a little weird using an Android phone as a camera. I think I just need to find the right shortcuts and stuff. Okay. Had to make sure I had space for video in here. But it looks good. Hello. So, oh man, this is still covered in that black plastic. Anybody who saw that stream where I was milling kydex in order to act as a flat surface for this Pyrolux, I still have that black plastic all over the place. Alright, I'm not going to bother putting on the microphone headset since I'm just taking a quick trip to pull the NinjaFlex off the printer, so we won't have audio for this, but I'll be right back. I think I might check on Tuco on the way over there because he looks so cute right now. Oh man, cool. I guess it stayed connected. I've had trouble with this Android dropping off the network while I'm streaming, but I think that managed to work out. So now I've got this, actually this print looks pretty good. Let's go back to the other camera setup. All right. Cool. So I think the problem I was having before is totally fixed in this new print, because here was my first print that was kind of surprisingly successful. And I did this one at 0.15 millimeter layers, and all of these buttons are kind of the same. They have just a smooth spherical texture. No uniqueness except for the different colors I put in for testing. Then this was my second print after that, and this is when I added some texture to the top, but I also tried printing using a different profile for 0.1 millimeter layers. And I think this profile just wasn't tuned so well, or it doesn't handle bridging so well, because I got these holes on the top layer and just generally didn't have quite as clean a print. But this print, the one that was going on in the background during the stream this morning that just finished, this looks great. I am happy with the quality on this, and you can kind of see the symbols printed on there visually, but the feel is really distinctive. So I think what I'm going to do with this is the feel for each of these rows is already nice and distinctive. I'm not going to worry too much about visual distinctiveness, but I think it might be a nice look to try alternating colors for each row to kind of visually bring the rows together a little more. So I might try to put in rows of white and blue keycaps in this to see how that looks. But I'm pretty happy with the print quality. Let's look at some of these bridges a little closer. Oh, I haven't been recording any of this. Let's fix that. Okay. Let's get a little bit of a shot of this before I go too much further, since I didn't get any of that on recording. That yellow tint is a little bit of nozzle gook, like overheated plastic that broke off the nozzle, that embedded itself in the print. But I'm not too bothered by that. The texture is nice. The teensy ended up looking pretty boxy. I'll be interested to see how this feels once all the layers are glued together, because my goal is really to add some rigidity around the teensy itself, and to make, especially to try to support the USB connector as much as I can, but to also try to kind of protect this transition between the rigid and flex circuit boards. So if we look at the other side, this is pretty much the same as that first prototype. We're seeing some pretty good kind of multi-stage bridging in here, where I bridge across, then over the whole thing. And the buttons look pretty good too. Like, I suspect I'll be able to get the keycaps in all of these cleanly without any kind of cleanup or anything, but let's give that a shot. First, I just want to take the keycaps out of all these others. Start putting them in where they belong. Oh, I just noticed a question in chat about the material, and yeah, this is NinjaFlex. This is just regular water clear NinjaFlex, I think. And these buttons, the inserts are printed in a couple of different materials, but the material for that doesn't matter so much. It's mostly just whatever I had handy. Most of these are PLA, some of them are PET. Oh yeah, and then we didn't look closely at this piece before, but I also made this and printed it in PLA. And I kept the revisions to the keycaps within these profiles, so this piece didn't need a reprint at all. So this is the new one. We can verify that that fits in here. Whoa, what is this black stuff? I think there's some black spots in here that are also that like same Kydex plastic that was blowing around in my machine closet. I think some of it got embedded in here. Well, I'm not going to worry too much, considering I just noticed it now and I was really happy with it until then. I'm not going to worry too much. I mean, I'm planning on sticking these onto my light poles around here that are fairly dark colored, so I don't think it's going to show that too badly. So yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of putting this in here for illustration. I don't think I can put the inserts in here easily with this mounted, but the flat surfaces are really nicely supported by this, so I plan to use this during gluing. And this does fit tightly in there. The joys of Boolean operations. Okay, done with this piece for now. So, let's see if we can maybe do 2 white rows and 3 blue ones on this. I think I printed like 18 of each of these colors. There's plenty to experiment with, and especially if I mix and match colors like this, plenty to build with. The trickiest part of printing these was just getting them off the build plate without, because like they stick down pretty hard, and so I'm using like a scraper to get them off, and they tend to just want to fly across the room at that point. So I have to kind of hold them down while also scraping them off and try not to damage them too much. There's a booger in there. This has been requiring a remarkably little cleanup. Like, it's not a super clean print on the account of it being all full of bridges and NinjaFlex, but I tried to design it to take into account the level of mess I expected. And I think that's working out. That feels pretty good so far. Let's put the white ones in. So yeah, I think the colors will be nice. would look weird there. Man, that Kydex is really hard to clean up. Like, I got pretty nice, like, medium-sized chips from the machine. So it's not like it's like fine dust or anything, but I guess it's just so staticky that it just tends to stick to everything. And my usual technique of using both the shop vac and the air compressor at the same time just tends to blow it around without actually picking it up that much. So that's been a persistent scourge on my machine closet's cleanliness. I think this one might need a slight booger clean out. Yeah. This seems to be mostly great. Not doing too much self-sticking. Orange, blue, and white. Yeah. So these pieces I glued together this morning. I don't want to subject them to a lot of flex without the top piece on yet, but the magnets are definitely usably attached, and they're pretty strong. There was a little bit of adherence to the plate, like the thin layer of NinjaFlex behind the magnets was not watertight, so some of the glue went through the NinjaFlex, but it was easy to get off. So I think at this point, like, let's give this a little bit of a test, but this is pretty much ready for assembly, which just involves applying some glue and some pressure. And while it's gluing, I thought the next thing I could do was to take the files for this and put them on GitHub so that other people can try to replicate this if they want. I do want to test this before I glue it together, so let's get the cable really quick. Let's see if I can adjust the Tuco cam to be a little closer. I can adjust the Tuco. Whoops. Harder to adjust the camera when I can't actually see the screen all the way over there. All right. This is the fishbowl computer. So I can go ahead and kind of push that down enough that I can get the USB cable in. Oh, the magnets hold it down now. That's nice. All right. Let's just use TextEdit to test this real quick like. Where's that key? Did they just... Huh. Let's try something other than TextEdit, because these weird keys are a little confusing. Let's just try like XEV. All right. A, B. Oh, is that key actually not working? Those two, huh? Well, maybe I need to give this another cleaning cycle. Ah. Glad I tested it. Oh, really? That one too? That's so annoying. Well, let's run that other like analog Arduino sketch just to make sure it isn't my lookup table's fault. I might try that suggestion from the last stream for cleaning the buttons while they're submerged in alcohol. If this is still a button problem. Arduino. I think I want to send this to the teensy programmer. And then open a text editor and then plug it in. And then the reset button. No, that's definitely not a software problem. That's definitely a button contact problem. Oh man, these micro switches are terrible. I mean, either they're terrible or I messed them up somehow really badly. I could believe either. Oh man, really? Yeah, okay, let's try cleaning them while submerged. I think that might be better. I don't want to submerge the... Well, I guess it doesn't matter if I submerge the teensy, really. But... Man, okay, so the plastics for this project are great. I'm totally ready to glue this thing together, except for the buttons not being clean enough to work reliably. Okay, let me find something that will contain isopropanol as I pour it on here and let the buttons be submerged slightly. I didn't really want to have to, well, because I've already glued it to the bottom part here, which that isn't super critical. Like I can, like if that glue fails, that's fine, I can glue it back. So annoying. What was that noise? Anyway, yeah, this is annoying. I'll find something that'll contain alcohol. Yeah, I wonder if now that the magnets are in place, something like this would work. Or at least doing some of the buttons at a time. That's pretty nice, though. It's like, that's somewhat effective. I'm definitely worried about this having an effect on the glue, but like the glue that's on there doesn't need to be like the main thing holding any of this together. The glue that's on there right now is mostly just to help me keep things positioned for the next glue up. So I'm not too worried about this weakening the E6000 and Super 77 that's holding this together right now. But I just want these buttons clean. I think this is definitely dissolving the Super 77. There's a noise coming from over there, like something is sitting on my keyboard and keeps making noises. And I keep assuming it's the cat, because that's like a normal cat thing. But I think it's the camera, or the Android phone I was using earlier. It can't be good that now I've got all this Super 77 dissolved in the alcohol. I should just try to water that down as much as I can. What a mess. I mean, maybe I should just try to get this whole circuit board off so I can stop dealing with the NinjaFlex part for this cleaning operation. At least the E6000 that's holding the magnets on seems to be in okay shape. Yeah, the Super 77 definitely soluble in isopropanol. So I'm going to have to do that or something similar again to put this back on. I might honestly just use like glue stick for that part. Since I worry a little bit that maybe the aerosol Super 77 was partially responsible for this. Oh man, let's get a clean bath of alcohol, because there's all sorts of gunk in there right now. But we have a magnetic flexible thing at least. That's useful, right? Oh man, that alcohol's getting into some kind of cut on my hand now. See if I can find something slightly larger that this will actually fit in. Let's make a giant mess. get like more isopropanol. Hopefully this isn't a terrible idea. Like, I really don't want the Kapton layers to delaminate. But this whole thing is useless if the buttons are not reliable, so it's kind of important. I want something I can use to press all the buttons at the same time. I don't know that I have a convenient object that will fit in there. Oh, maybe this will fit. I don't think this is alcohol soluble. Doesn't quite fit though. There's a lot of stuff coming off of this for sure. I mean, I assume it's mostly adhesive related, but like, I really want to get whatever's inside these buttons out and not deposit more junk down. I have an ultrasonic cleaner. I'm not sure if it would be helpful in this circumstance, but that might be another step to try. Ah, this alcohol is filthy. Whoa. Something still feels sticky around here. Like, I think that alcohol might have just had a lot of adhesive residue dissolved in it. Alright, meter. So there was a question in the chat about the makeup of these buttons and like how much could have actually gotten inside of them. And like in my experience, most of these little tactile switches are totally not at all sealed. They're just like some contacts and a little rubber or a little metal dome. And I assume these are the same way. And it's just acting like, I mean, what it's acting like is during one of the earlier stages where I was like cleaning the board off with alcohol, like that picked up a bunch of flux or adhesive or something else and carried it into the button. And now I've just managed to gunk up, I assume, most of the buttons on here. I mean, this seems promising so far. The buttons still feel, I mean, like the circuit board still feels kind of sticky, but maybe I just have adhesive residue in my fingers. Alright, I think that's promising. And this seems like it's still slightly sticky, which, I mean, I want it to be somewhat sticky, just so that I can work with it. I mean, not like it's pleasant to work with when it's sticky, but it would be nice if it stuck down to the layer I'm trying to attach it to. Ooh, there's a magnet right here. I wasn't supposed to have any leftover magnets. Ah, it came out. Let's glue that magnet in. Try to do it with the same polarity as the other magnets. There's a tiny bit of glue. I mean, it probably does not help E6000 cure when it's like partially cured and you dunk it in alcohol. Alright, try not to disturb that too much. Anyway, let's plug this in and see if it works. Oh, poor little Flex, I gotcha. Alright. This should already be printing stuff out. Maybe this is still too wet to operate. Doesn't seem like it's still got moisture on it. Now this is not showing up on USB. Okay, it sounds like it's pressing some keys. Great, that's my analog reading. So that indicates that it's still, like I've still got moisture in the circuit, or that analog reading would go down to close to 0. We can test the buttons, but I mean, I got it to the state where it seemed to all be working earlier today, and then I guess it dried out more thoroughly and it stopped working, which is not good. But so far these seem happy after soaking them in alcohol and pressing them and then blowing them out. Let's try to just hit this with the compressed air until I can get that number down to close to 0. I wanted to stop typing. I think this USB connection might have gotten wiggled. Maybe this is not the best cable. Oh. Yeah. Let's try a different cable. Maybe this cable is unhappy. I also might have made the connector on the teensy unhappy somehow, but I don't quite see how I would have done that. Alright, that's better. What I'm kind of hoping to see is one of these where I start blowing and the number goes down. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. let's try it again. Let's see if this is going to work. It's probably going to work, and then I just won't know whether it's going to keep working after I glue it all together. Not like I can't take it apart, but that'll just be annoying. I would really like to not have to take it apart. This seems fine. Seems fine. Well, let's try putting the top on. Alright, this bottom piece is a little fragile. One of the magnets is still a little bit loose, but the rest of them should be somewhat glued into place. That'll just kind of sticks down there. So then we've assembled this piece with the little plastic inserts, and then this goes on top of here, teensy side first. This getting kind of squished into the mallet that I made for it. Focus. So yeah, a little booger in there. Let's maybe not use the tweezers that are covered in glue. Great. So I'm just going to test these buttons again before we go any further. Alright, it's printing numbers. Still have to hold this until the top and bottom layers are glued, otherwise the magnet won't hold the connector's weight down. Let's try putting the other sketch back on that actually presses keys now. This is the one with a lookup table that just matches A to D values with keyboard keys. Alright, updated the sketch. Now it should start giving me different weird symbols for each key that I press. Great. That seems like it's working again. I think that's good. Alright. I mean, if I think this is going to stay good, then it's time to glue this together. And that seems alright. I mean, I think it was actually a button problem that I was seeing. It wasn't just the USB cable problem, because I was seeing problems with specific keys and not others. So I'm glad I gave these buttons another cleaning. I'm just hoping that it's not the kind of conduct, because like my mental model for what's going on is like there's some button that has like some bit of dirt in there that is an insulator when it's dry, but is conductive enough when the alcohol is in there also. And that when that dried, then the dirt in there just kind of became a pure insulator. So I think this is time for some gluing. So for this next stage, I plan to assemble the top half in this little mold and the bottom half on this piece of metal, and then just stick the two together. More up. This needs to be much more up. That didn't sound good. There we go. Gotta clean out the bearings on this thing. I don't really like that glare. That's probably fine. So it kind of comes off cleanly like that, but the teensy really wants to stick to this piece. So I think I'm just not going to worry about gluing the Flex PCB into its little home here, and I'm just going to let it find that via physics. The teensy anchors itself in on this side quite well, and I don't really want to over-constrain the Kapton or the Flex PCB. So there's a nice little cozy here for the teensy. All I really need to do now is apply glue on the flat areas on here. I guess I should be pressing this into here first before describing that, but yeah. Teensy fits into here, and then everything else kind of follows from the teensy. So that just makes a nice flat surface that I can glue. So, focus. So the Ninja Flex on the bottom is held pretty securely into that PLA, and there's a nice flat surface, and then there's this circuit board. Man, I really do kind of want the circuit board on the other half, because the glue up is going to be much easier that way. But then the teensy really is, like, it fits kind of snugly into here, so it's nice to be able to pre-align the teensy that way. So, I don't know, I might just compromise and try to apply the glue with the circuit board bent back like this. Because I want to glue all the flat areas here. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of glue like between this and the Flex PCB too, since that would be nice. I just don't want to get it inside the circular part of any of these buttons. Oh, there's a question in the chat about a buzzer here. There's a lot of weird noises around here. There's the train, which is, like, it sounds like a train, but then there's also, like, equipment that starts and stops. Like, I think people have, like, compressors and stuff like that nearby. There's also, like, loading docks with trucks. I think a lot of the noises come from, there's, like, a FedEx distribution hub across the street that you can see it out my window. So I think they run trucks and like they open and close doors and stuff like that. All right. So I'm gonna get some popsicle stick type things to spread the glue with. So I don't really mind getting getting excess glue on this edge, because that'll peel off pretty easily. I just don't want to get it into the buttons. But having enough to kind of hold down the edges will be nice. Just want to, in general, be kind of careful with how much I put on, because there isn't a lot of room for the glue to hang out in. That wasn't autofocus, that was stabilization. That's autofocus. I have such a love-hate relationship with this glue. I think it's mostly hate, but there's some love in there too. Oh yeah, this is going to be tough. Maybe a syringe would be better for this. Oh man, maybe I should have, like, if this was a smaller object, I would consider just like dipping it somehow. But just considering how much surface area this whole thing has. I mean, the good thing is that this glue itself is pretty flexible, so like if it gets into the button, it's mostly just going to make the button mechanism thicker without, I hope, impeding it too much. So maybe you should be doing this with a brush instead of a stick. Like a sacrificial glue brush or something. I'm trying to go by the reflection to see where I've actually put it down on the kind of struts in between pieces. This is definitely one of those moments where it could just all go horribly wrong. I mean, I think I have a chance to redo this if I need to, because the glue, I think, will peel off of the Ninja Flex once it's set. I used so much of this to make this project with a bunch of broken glass and LEDs. I was like curing it with a heat gun on low and wearing a respirator. Almost put down the flex, and then I need more glue. Oh, man. I'm imagining in the future when I have like a robot that people can use, that all of you can use like on the internet to send bolts to Tuco, like using it to warn me when stuff is out of frame or something. Well, warn/complain. I can't see things. It's all out of frame. So you throw bolts at me until it's in frame. Or when my head's blocking everything. I know hair cam is not very good. I'm sorry. Oh, this glue. It's a really good thing this glue is flexible, because there's a lot of it. I'm trying to put just a little on all the relevant areas. Okay, I think I can lay down this now. I'm trying to just like not fuss with that too much until I get the other piece on. And this area actually can just have a relatively larger amount of glue, since that's where the connector goes and just kind of wants to be more sturdy. Okay. Now I can put some more on the back of the flex circuit. And then I think just try to assemble this and let the glue dry for a while. trying to just kind of dab some glue in the middle of the circuit board so that it spreads out along the rest of it without getting too much in the actual button mechanism. See, I don't want it like flapping around like that when it's actually assembled. It will not have room to do that. Do want to make sure this area up here has plenty, like the corners are going to be prone to come apart first. And it's fine if it kind of oozes out a little. That'll be easy to clean up. Okay, let's get this together before it starts drying. So I think for this, I just want to take this whole thing and leave it on the desk. And then put this in the center-ish. Well, it doesn't really matter. Somewhere I can access it. And make sure it's flat. As flat as I can conveniently get it. Okay. Now, this part's going to be hard to get on camera. Oh, so maybe I don't do that way. I don't know if I can keep it aligned. So maybe I just do it this way so I don't have to worry about the flex falling out. So it should kind of settle into place on those magnets. Trying to make sure it's lined up everywhere, and then I'm just going to give it some pressure. I think it's lined up. It's the cat hair side of the sandbag. Alright, I really hope that's lined up. I mean, this glue does not dry super fast, and the shapes are pretty self-centering, so I think it'll be alright as long as there's some consistent pressure and flatness on this. So I'm going to put this aside somewhere where the glue can dry without having flatness issues, like on the floor or on a flat table. Okay, I think that's all I can do with that at this point. I'm not feeling amazing about whether, like, there's a bunch of unknowns here. Still not sure if the buttons are happy, and I'm not totally sure about the, sorry. Which button am I? Here's me. Yeah, so I don't know totally for sure if the buttons are happy. I also, I have my doubts about this glue up mechanism. Like, it's possible there's too much glue. It's possible the layers aren't going to line up the way I hope they do. But yeah, I think we wait and see at this point. Oh man, there's all sorts of stuff in chat that I'm missing out on. Make sure to catch up slightly. Looks like there was a vote. Oh, Tuco dreaming of a remote bolt thrower. Yeah. Oh, Tuco. Yeah, it's gotten all dark and we can't see Tuco sleeping, but I assume he was twitching and dreaming earlier. I often wonder what he's doing when that happens. There's a question in the chat, is there any shop equipment that I had in Silicon Valley that I miss in my shop here? It's actually pretty much the opposite. Like, I didn't really have much of a shop in Silicon Valley. There I am. I'm going to have to spend some time making muscle memory for all the buttons. It's just right now with the old switcher, they all feel the same. I didn't have much of a shop in Silicon Valley. I lived in, well, like when I first moved to California from Colorado, I was just like really absorbed in my job, and it was just a software job at that point. And I mostly didn't have much of an electronics shop of my own. I eventually set up kind of a small one in my apartment, but yeah, for really the first maybe 2 years or so, I was in California, in Mountain View at the time, in Silicon Valley. Well, Sunnyvale and then Mountain View. I was mostly focused on my job and my relationship at the time, and didn't really spend much time on my hobby projects. So the stuff that I spent tons of time on before moving to California, I didn't spend as much time on. And then I eventually built kind of a small office / lab type setup in the place I was at in Mountain View. But that wasn't so great. I mean, it was like a space that I shared with my long-term romantic partner at the time, and he and I had like an office, like with 2 desks kind of split down the middle, and so that was kind of my setup at the time. I had like half of one room in a suburban townhome to do my stuff in. I didn't really have like, we talked about setting aside space in the garage, but the garage was mostly just full of his car. So, and then I moved from there to my own place in San Francisco after a while. And in San Francisco, I actually managed to have a pretty decent little tiny workshop, but it was like, I lived in this tiny studio apartment at the time, so it was basically like a desk and a little bit of storage. I still managed to make some stuff I liked there, but it was, I couldn't really do much hardware. And so that was like when I was really happy to have a USB oscilloscope, because I really did not have much desk space. And then I made some attempts at having more lab space after that. Like, I mean, that space was always pretty crowded, and for a time I shared it with my girlfriend. And so there was the 2 of us living in this little studio apartment and both trying to live and sometimes work there. So not much space there at all. I tried to set up a workshop in kind of an unused room in somebody's warehouse in San Francisco a while ago. And that was where I did a bunch of the fade candy development, was in this like basement of a warehouse in San Francisco. And it was okay. I mean, I was happy to have the space, but it was like not a good space. It didn't have like lights or electricity. I mean, not because it was like illegal or anything. It was just kind of a broken room. Like there was a reason that the tenants there weren't really using it. So I had to like set up my own lights and run an extension cord in from another room. But I did a bunch of the fade candy assembly there, and that was nice. But yeah, this is like the first time I've had my own like actual shop. That's part of why I like it so much. Before I moved to California, I well, when I was in college, I had like a kind of a similar like really tiny shop like in a studio apartment, kind of like I did when I moved to San Francisco. Before that, when I still lived with my parents, I I lived in their unfinished basement. So I had this like little room that was basically my living quarters and electronics lab. So yeah, I guess that was also basically like the studio apartment I had later. It just happened to be in my parents' basement. Um, but yeah, it's nice having this much space. Like part of why I wanted this much space was to do workshops occasionally where I have a bunch of people in and I, lead a class about programming and soldering and making stuff. And I've done a handful of those, not as many as I would like, mostly because I guess the social anxiety takes over, but and I guess also partly because some of the art that I'd been doing those classes on, I kind of got a little burned out on, but those are both kind of silly excuses, and I should really set up another series of those once I have some good subject material. Because I have a decent environment for running classes with like 16 people. I have desks or like folding tables and a projector and stuff. And Tuco gets along with classes. I've had like 20 people here, and Tuco is fine. He's really curious and hangs out with people. And when he doesn't want to hang out, he can go upstairs. Oh yeah, there's a discussion in chat about the kind of Tuco interactive robots and the yeah. Oh, and Mike from Mike's Electric Stuff is suggesting maybe IR retroreflectors for tracking the Tuco bolt. Yeah, I think optical or acoustic are kind of my two favorites at this point. Like acoustic is maybe worth trying because the hardware for that is just so simple that it'd be nice to see just like what I can get. Like, can I get like a rough XY coordinate? Like if I have kind of a floor plan of my shop, can I analyze audio from like 6 microphones around the shop and get a rough coordinate for where the bolt's been bouncing? That seems like it might be easiest because it doesn't involve as much issues of occlusion. Because the bolt's like so small, it kind of gets in behind stuff. If I'm not too worried about the occlusion, then I can probably try to put a camera on the ceiling here, because the ceiling here is super high. I hate heights, but I can probably talk a friend who doesn't hate heights into climbing a ladder and putting a camera up there for me. And then, yeah, maybe we could use some optical trick with, either the retroreflector idea is pretty cool. Maybe some combination of that and fluorescent dyes, but I don't really want to be blasting out like huge amounts of UV light in my workshop all the time. But maybe if it's short pulses and I can detect the pulses, then it would work out. But yeah, my first approximation for this project didn't even involve sensing the bolts, just giving Tuco a way to trigger the launch himself. So I'll have to do a stream on this sometime, because I've got like partially completed CAD models for this and everything. But that was the thing with the wheel that I showed earlier, where it spins up the wheel and then there's a bolt in a hopper that drops down. And so the idea was the hopper mechanism would actually be actuated by a little pedal that Tuco can step on. And it would be designed so that he physically couldn't step on it if he was on the side of the machine that was actually going to be launching toward, so I didn't want him to get hurt. But yeah, lots of cat interactive technology to think about. Oh. Oh yeah, a camera just to keep Tuco in view. That would be nice too, just a robot that follows him around. Yeah, and that there's so many ways of doing that too, because he doesn't mind wearing a collar. So I could see just giving him a collar with like a safety vest, IR, retroreflector stuff. Yeah, I think that's probably what you were suggesting earlier. So now I'm getting it. Yeah, no, that would be interesting. I'll have to experiment with that. I certainly have plenty of devices around here that can blast out IR of various kinds. So I guess the other thing I was thinking about is like what kinds of actual robotic platforms would be good around here. I mean, flat floors, which are nice. Oh, I also want wireless video if I can get it. I think somebody in chat recently suggested the little 5.8 gigahertz like FPV style transmitters. And so I got something like that. I want to try doing the kind of regular FPV setup that people usually do where there's like standard def real-time video plus 1080p offline video. So I could still get like nicer video if I want to edit in video of Tuco doing something amazing, but that I could have like real-time standard def video during the streams. There's also the HDMI streamers, but the one I have at least, because I use one for my projector here, and it's super power hungry. So I don't know if that would be as good for something Tuco wears, but we could try that out. Yeah, maybe multiple cams, pan tilt. This is starting to sound like a sports arena tracking system, except Tuco is the tennis ball. Oh, I think he's waking up. Maybe we can get some more light in here. I'm still looking at his glue up. I'm so paranoid about it. Alright, I'm gonna try not to worry too much about this glue until it's dry. If it doesn't work, we can just try again. It's not like, it's not like any of these parts are super irreplaceable. We can always try again until I run out of patience. Patience is really the limited resource here. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this stream. Tuco's being pretty chill over there. And yeah, I think this might wrap it up for the button project. We'll get to see if it's usable after the glue sets up, but yeah, I think the next stream should get back to other stuff. Let's see, so I've got my, there's all the kind of voltage and EM glitching stuff. I'm probably going to save that until Monday and focus on like less day job related stuff over the weekend. So I think mostly there I still need to plan out this kind of PCB assembly related video. That's a bit open-ended. It's a commission, so it's kind of something that's like higher up on my to-do list, but I don't actually have like a super concrete outline for that, so I need to do some work to figure out which of these ideas that I've been playing with and things that I've been filming are actually kind of worth including. Because there's plenty of resources on that topic out there already, but it'd be nice to bring some things together and maybe add some of my experience to the mix. And then as far as actual like reversing video that I'm excited about, I think the next step in kind of the Wacom tablet RFID thing was, well, so previously we got the disassembly and managed to use this kind of crazy USB debug dongle emulation contraption to get a disassembly. So I was trying to illustrate that disassembly process using using not the sort of hacked together device that I originally used, which was based on the Great Vet, and not the Face Dancer, which is kind of the obvious tool for the job, but is actually way too slow. But I was trying to use the Rasp Dancer. So actually, I think I want to give that another shot since actually one of my viewers, I think Kyle, I might be getting his name wrong, I'm terrible with names, sorry, but one of my viewers here who was paying attention to that stream, he was actually nice enough to do the work to port that Rasp Dancer board to the newer API. So I think the next stream is probably just going to be giving that a shot and see if I can get some footage of the debug interface working through that board. It's really tempting to do some circuit board assembly this weekend because I've got that shiny new board that I milled, but I think I'm going to save that for the weekday hours. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this stream. I think probably going to do the next one sometime tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great New Year's wherever you're spending it, and hope 2017 treats us all better. Happy hacking, everyone.